Thank you so much, and I just want to extend my most heartfelt thank you to our friends at CFAM, to Lisa, to the ambassador, the Philippines, for putting on and hosting this event. Today, July 30th, is the United Nations World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, with a stated focus and mandate to leave no child behind. The focus of today's event, in honor of this important day, is reducing the demand of sexual exploitation of women and girls. Several years ago, I was living in Cambodia, volunteering as an art therapist for an organization working with survivors of trafficking. A young woman in our program described to me how she was trafficked from her rural village to the capital city, Phnom Penh, at just age 11. I will never forget her informing me that Western men would visit the brothel she was held at and show her pornographic videos, requiring her to copy and act out whatever fantasy they had been consuming. Those of us who work in the anti-trafficking field know that the supply of trafficking is fueled by a demand, and that pornography fuels demand by marketing a fantasy. Last year, we screened our documentary Buying Her here at the United Nations. In this film, we interview numerous former sex buyers, some of whom confess to likely purchasing sex with trafficked or underage children. A common thread that emerged was that every sex buyer we interviewed had been exposed to pornography as a child. Now, not every person who consumes pornography becomes a sex buyer, but the intersection between sex trafficking, pornography, and demand is unmistakable. It is our strong belief that global policies that criminalize sex buying, third parties, pimps, and traffickers, while providing robust exit services and programs for those being exploited, is the clear path forward for reducing demand and exploitation in the global sex trade. We support and agree with the conclusions and recommendations in the excellent recent report of the Special Rapporteur on Prostitution and Violence Against Women and Girls, its Causes and Consequences, by Reem Assalem, which mentions pornography's role in exploitation. Assalem's final recommendation to states on her 19-page report is to apply a strict age verification system on all online pornography. On the United Nations webpage dedicated to World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, it says, globally, 1 in 3 victims of human trafficking is a child, and the majority of trafficked children are girls. The proliferation of online platforms poses additional risks, as children often connect to these sites without adequate safeguards. If demand is at the root of trafficking, childhood exposure to porn is therefore the root of the root. We've come to learn that many children experience first-time exposure to pornography as a form of neurological assault. The average age of a child being exposed to porn is currently around 11 years old. According to a 2019 UK study, 62% of 11 to 13-year-olds who had seen porn reported their first exposure to it was unintentional. Children under 10 now account for 22% of underage porn consumers, and 10 to 14-year-olds make up 36% of minor consumers. We have over 1,000 recorded testimonies of individuals who've contacted our organization sharing their stories with us, and I'd like to read just a few quotes. A boy who was exposed at age 10 told us, "I saw my first hardcore porno in the 3rd grade. I felt sick to my stomach. I didn't look at girls in the same way. I was pretty much addicted by age 18. The search criteria became boring and turned awful and dangerous." Chanel, who was exposed at 10 years old, told us, "Seeing porn as a child gave me the impression that my body wasn't mine, but an object for sex, that I could even be forced into sex and that is okay and normal. It was hard to grow out of that mindset, and I still struggle with being intimate because of it." A boy who was exposed at age 12 told us, "I went almost straight to hardcore BDSM at the age of 12 because that's what popped up." A girl who was abused at age 9 years old told us, "When I was 9, I went to a neighbor's house to play hide and seek, but he told me that he wanted to show me a new game. He took me to his parents' bedroom, told me that he wanted to show me something he saw in a porn movie. He raped me. I stopped playing hide and seek with the neighbors. I stopped playing outside in general. I started overeating as a form of self-protection. I've struggled with anxiety and depression ever since. He was my abuser, but porn was his." In 2020, our organization Exodus Cry began campaigning for Pornhub to be held accountable for not verifying the age and consent and for host of their content, and for hosting and monetizing videos of real sex trafficking, rape, and underage videos. Nick Kristof, journalist from the New York Times, saw the petition and reached out, resulting in his own investigation, which was on the front page of the New York Times at the end of 2020. Within days, all credit card companies cut off payment processing, and Pornhub deleted 10 million unverified videos, 80% of their website. In 2021, we launched a campaign called Protect Children, Not Porn, calling for all sites hosting porn to require that users be age verified with a government ID before they can access. The video that you're about to see mentions we launched a petition which we delivered in DC, released a documentary called Raised on Porn, which was viewed by millions, and mobilized the campaign all year. I even led a protest in Times Square. Then in January 2023, Louisiana became the first US state to introduce and pass age verification. Since then, 38 states have introduced and 19 have passed age verification bills for adult sites. The UK introduced the Online Safety Act, which goes into effect next year, and numerous nations in Europe and around the world are in various stages of passing and implementing age verification for adult sites.